Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue of Southeast Asia TV. Last year, we chaired the ASEAN. So a lot of work, so a lot of discussion, more on policy issue, on regional integration, on global financial crisis. But the summit is over. Life is back to normal. And this year, I want to focus more on innovation, on science and technology, on things that matter to the country, on things that could bring, development, a faster development to the country. So we talk about innovation. Innovation can take many different forms in the, investment side, in the service side, and this time I am going to focus a bit on the banking. How can innovation in banking can bring better life to the people, in this case the Cambodian people, how innovation banking can bring a deeper financial inclusion to our society, because as you know, banking in Cambodia in the past has been perceived as very foreign, in the sense that the Cambodians do not trust the banking system. Over the year it progressed, more and more people get into the banking, they like it, but it's still constricted to the capital city, to the major provincial town. But when we speak about equitable growth, if we speak about access to the benefit of globalization, one cannot say that if the people at the bottom of the totem pole do not have access to finance, their lives not improve as a result. So I have the pleasure to have with me today Anthony Perkins, who is a Chief Executive Officer of WING. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Very happy to share our experience with WING.
Good. So we'll be talking a bit about mobile banking. I don't want to get too much about it. I want Anthony to speak about it. But Anthony, before we start, give us a bit of your personal background, so that the audience can relate to you.
Okay, certainly. Well, first of all, I'm English. I've come all the way from England to
Which part
to be
of
here.
England?
South East. I spent most of my childhood in London and Dover on the South East coast, which was where my parents still live. So a long way from home, but my new home being Cambodia for the past 5 years. So I've been here for a fair amount of time. Before coming to Cambodia, I used to work in the banking sector in London. I spent a lot of time with companies like Barclays, Bank of New York, Royal Bank of Scotland, etc. So I had a broad background from the financial services industry in the UK. And then on a trip several years ago, I decided to come out and see Angkor Wat. I'm actually quite into my architecture as well. And I always wanted to come and see Angkor Wat from a very young age, actually. So on my first trip here, I fell in love with the country immediately. And then it must have been maybe 6-7 years ago, started to work out the plan of how I would leave London and find a way to come here, which was a very different country back then. I mean, there was only I think 2 ATMs from ANZ was the only infrastructure here. So and that's really not that long ago.
So you couldn't cash your money?
No, this was one of the panics I had on the plane, because I only had, I think, $100 in my pocket. And suddenly realised that there was no ATM. So where would I get my money out from? So that was the first challenge that I had. So I was very happy that ANZ had already made the step here. But then it was at that point that I realised that Cambodia was developing very quickly. You could see that the people here are very motivated, very friendly, and it would only be a matter of time before the opportunities for the financial industry here to expand and grow very quickly. So that played a part in my reasons for coming here.
And then now you're with WING, but what is WING? WING, I see these logos like a bird, remind me sort of like a Silk Air or something.
Yes.
But it's not Silk Air.
No, it isn't. No, we're not an aeroplane line. But no, WING technically is a mobile money company.
Okay.
So we use mobile phone technology to assist people to move money from one place to another. It's really as simple as that. We do have a variety of other products as well. But the key
the genesis of WING is coming from where?
Yeah, so the original project was started by Brad Jones and the team from ANZ.
Okay.
Brad being the first CEO from Wing 5 years ago. So it was their idea, having seen similar services in Africa with countries which had, I don't want to say poor infrastructure, but yeah, far not a developed country,
Yes,
not like Singapore, etc. So they saw that this type of service was working very well in those areas where people previously were travelling long distances, either on foot or by taxi, to actually just move money from one place to another. And they saw the opportunity for that in Cambodia as well. ANZ started that project with a view to promoting financial inclusion in the country and reaching out into rural areas where banks traditionally wouldn't usually reach into, because building branches for banks is a very expensive exercise. So the ability for them to use mobile money and people to send money with mobile phones suddenly extends the reach of that bank considerably. So I think that was the main reason for.
Well, you know, from the policy perspective, I mean, the royal government in Cambodia is quite keen to push for this so-called financial inclusion. And when our Prime Minister like Hun Sen went to Mexico for the G20, you know, summit there in Los Cabos, Mexico, is one of the agenda of the G20 last year was on financial inclusion, because, you know, they feel that, you know, the development would not be equitable if only a certain portion of the population benefit from all these economic transactions here. And then at the end of the day, you know, there's the other side of the spectrum that, wait a minute, who, the people, in, I mean, some books say that the bottom of the pyramid, right?
That's right.
But they also constitute a big mass also, that if well nurtured, well, you know, sort of like cultivated, could someday grow to be an economic basis for the development of the country.
Yes.
So for Cambodia, I feel that our banking system are quite aggressive, in the sense that there are 30-some commercial bank, we don't know how many micro enterprise, and now we see a third layer of you know, mobile banking that I think are the real meaning of financial inclusion here. I thought that microfinance is more a intermediate step to reach that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, there's certainly a place for everybody. That's the first thing. As you say, that for banked customers, there would be, I think, I'll probably get my stats wrong, but I think there's only 5% or so that actually have a bank account in the country. And then, as you say, there's this big chunk in the middle of that pyramid who are currently moving out of poverty and are starting to take loans with MFIs, etc., who do have a very good reach nationwide as well. And then Wing, as it started, actually was meant to be for the bottom of the pyramid, as you say. It was meant to reach the poorest of the poor, which is a huge challenge in itself. But I think that one of the things that we noticed was actually that it wasn't just bottom of the pyramid. We found that we also were picking up the middle of the pyramid and the top of the pyramid as well.
Interesting.
So it was actually just a product that was pervasive across all of the...
Give me some example of the three layer.
Well, I think they are simply the banked customers, those who have been quite used to formal banking systems. They have credit cards.
That's the top of the pyramid.
They're the guys at the top of the pyramid. In the middle, you would be looking at the blue-collar workers, people that do have jobs, garment factory workers, etc., would be in that segment. And then the bottom of the pyramid really are unemployed or the very poor. So I think the average wage in Cambodia is something like $80 to $90 per month. So these people would be, you know, sort of below 50 or so on. So they're the different segments, but you're right, there's a lot of overlap between them as well. And I think that was one of the things that ANZ were very careful with when they first launched Wing, was which segment should we target. And certainly if they went for the middle of the pyramid, I don't think it would have been a success, because the country is already well serviced by either the smaller banks or also the MFIs. So I think they did see the opportunity was in the very bottom of the pyramid.
Would you consider, like, let's say for example that, of course, you know, we have now 500-some thousand worker in the garment footwear industry scattered around Phnom Penh, Sihanouk Vale, and most of them remit some money, monthly to their family in far remote provinces, Kampong Cham or Battambang. I mean, they will be what? They will be middle pyramid or below?
Yeah, I think they're probably
bottom
towards the bottom of the middle tier, I guess.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So at least they have a job and
yes, they have a
and
job.
some money to remit. Which
they
is
remit the money
absolutely,
home.
yeah. But you're absolutely right, and that is one of the areas that Wing originally was envisioned to provide those services to garment factory workers or just any industry workers on a large scale.
Yes.
Wing does have a payroll disbursement product, so
interesting.
In a similar way to a bank, Wing is able to move money from the employer to all of the employees, and that can be 50 employees or it can be 10,000 employees. And we can move that money from one to the other very, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, speaking, I'm just focusing now on the sort of like this mid-level toward the bottom end of the pyramid, those who have a job. But in recent years, there's a lot of tendency, there's a lot of attraction for Cambodian migrant worker to go abroad. Right? So this is also something to see. Some go legally, some go illegally. But nonetheless, money being transacted, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. We have some. I can give you an example of that in Koh Kong, just over the border from Thailand. There are people that come across the border with bags of money, basically, and it's not a significant amount. But for a bank standard, the bank would not consider it. But nonetheless, for those people that are trying to get money back home. One guy will bring it back, and then just over the border, we have a Wing Cash Express over there, and he basically just sits there and moves the money from Koh Kong back to Cambodia.
And probably less risky because sending by the taxi would probably get lost somewhere.
Well, these are some of the key things with Wing as well. Absolutely, security is one thing. The money moves from one place to another immediately, and that's securely via mobile phone. But yeah, the speed as well. There's no need for that person to wait for the money to arrive physically. They can get the notification via their phone that the money's there, and then they can go to their local Wing Cash Express to cash that money out. So the whole process, the velocity of the money is very fast. It's immediate, effectively.
Do you anticipate that, for example, with the population, Cambodian population that go and work abroad in Malaysia and Thailand or something, would you eventually work out some arrangement with these countries or banking industry there so that they can send the money home? Because this would send a very strong sense of stability. I don't want to see more Cambodian workers going abroad. I feel that there is now enough industries happening in Cambodia, in different part of the country, in different province where emerging new source of growth is popping up, right? But having said that, those who choose on their own free will to go to Thailand to work, fine. But what is the mechanism so that they can send the money home? That is important, right? And you might as well be service anyway.
Yes. Yeah, so this is something that we were looking to launch probably in the second quarter of this year for inbound international remittance. Again, Wing is regulated by the National Bank of Cambodia.
Oh, it is as a third party?
Yes, as a third party processor. So effectively we have oversight from the National Bank and from ANZ Royal still.
Oh, good, very good.
So there's strict regulation around international remittance that we need to be very careful with, but absolutely the National Bank have been pressing us to formalise what is currently a very informal channel. So it's very hard for the National Bank to get visibility over how much money is coming over the border and so on. So certainly if Wing can be involved in that, it'll be fantastic for the National Bank just to actually see what the real numbers are.
Yeah, because I think it's important for national security as well, with all this, now the fear of tourism, finding different angle, because these guys are also very creative.
They're very creative,
They're very creative. So having the central bank, the National Bank Cambodia being, a regulator through, of course, through the commercial bank, you know, it's important. It gives a sense of sort of comfort also, so those who send the money, that they are not going through a mean that could get them in trouble. You know,
yes, absolutely, and that's one of the key foundations which we've inherited from ANZ when they set the company up. We still follow all of the international banking regulations, which sometimes is a little bit onerous when we're considering that we're sending very small amounts. You know, for money laundering, etc., you would need to open an awful lot of Wing accounts to transfer money to do that.
You're right,
It'd be a lot, but
right.
but nonetheless, we take that very seriously, and we do all the checks that the National Bank and ANZ enforce on us. But actually, just getting back to the international remittance side, sorry. We would definitely like to formalise that channel.
Okay.
And I think one of the great things, that there's already channels there between banks. Obviously there are Cambodians abroad in America or maybe France sending large amounts of money home.
Okay, okay.
And that's not an area that Wing would necessarily play in.
Yes.
But certainly there are the migrant workers who are just going over the border or not too far, sending much smaller amounts. And for them, the cost of sending it via the traditional channels of banks or through money transfer, Western Union, MoneyGram, etc., generally would be quite expensive compared to the amount that they've just been paid.
Exactly.
So if we can get involved there and reduce the costs, I think it would have a great benefit.
What is the current market base now for mobile, you know, banking like that?
In Cambodia, the mobile phone penetration has been excellent. Obviously, you've seen there's a very crowded telco market in Cambodia. But in on the positive of that, it does mean that most Cambodians have a mobile phone, or they have access to a mobile phone.
Yes.
So for Wing, over the coming years, there's no question to my mind that the mobile technology, as we've seen in developed countries, more and more of those, even my ex-employer Barclays have just launched a product to basically do exactly what Wing does, which Cambodia's had for 4 years. So in some cases Cambodia is ahead in the mobile industry, due to the fact that, you know, because of the history of the country, that it has jumped straight from, that it's bypassed landlines and gone straight to mobile. So there's many innovative products that people are starting to release.
So do you still see mobile banking in Cambodia is still at its infancy, or is that, you know, mid-level of maturity, you know, and what's the prospect for growth?
I think for banks, I'm quite surprised actually. I think the progress has been very good. What I would say though, again, most of those customers are in that top part of the pyramid.
Yes.
So the early adopters are the people that have iPhones or the top end phones that can run these lovely graphical interfaces. So you know, it's nice that banks have effectively like internet banking but on a mobile phone. It has a very good interface.
Yes.
What Wing has focused on is applications that work on the lowest end phone. So just on a $10 Nokia second-hand phone,
I see.
the Wing system still works on even those phones.
Yeah.
So I think, but over time, that will move. Obviously, the second-hand phone market here is moving very quickly as phone manufacturers. You know, Apple releasing phones every quarter or whatever they do. So the number of second-hand phones is getting right down into the bottom of the pyramid.
Second-hand, but still very good phones.
Still very good phones, absolutely. So, but the more that those phones get disseminated through the country and you know, towards the bottom of the pyramid, then the Wing will also release more flashy mobile technology as well. So we do have plans to release our own application for the higher end phones this year as well.
So it's interesting because, you know, I see it's not just the mobile banking technology, but here is really getting people to get to become a user of technology, which now they use it. But at some point, they start to like, you know, that all this gadget does bring impact to their life.
Yes.
Improve their well-being, you know, that sort of thing. And over time, they will encourage their kid to be the early adopter of this sort of technological advances.
Yes, exactly. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that Wing faces is the financial education and the trust. It's very hard for any company really to get a customer to change the way they've been doing things for 20, 30 years.
Indeed.
So, and especially when it's new technology as well.
Yes.
There's that fear of, if I do it through a mobile phone, how does the money go from here to there?
Exactly. But you know, having said that, Cambodia is a very young population, has a very young population base, and these young population, they're very fast adopter. They're big sponge, you know?
Yes.
And that's why you see the thriving telecom market. I was told that every month there's this smartphone, they sell about 50,000 units of smartphone every month.
Yes.
50,000.
Exactly.
I mean, so you imagine, I probably can say there's probably a third second-hand market even, not just the first, because all these new gadgets, iPhone 5, then you sell the iPhone 4, the secondary market in Satmai. The Satmai shift it later on to Batlamont to third, you know, second-hand market. And certainly before you know, you have iPhone 4 in somewhere in Mantiminche, you know.
Yes, but actually this is one of the funniest things, you know, doing a lot of travelling around the country. One of the funniest things I've seen, just travelling down near Kampot, there was a rural setting, lovely farm, farmer, everything, and he's just there with his chromar and the cow, nothing else there at all. You could have been hundreds of years ago. It was a completely rural setting, and then he just pulls his phone out. Hello.
Well, you should take a picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the mobile phone absolutely is.
It will this miniaturization of technology as sort of like embodied in this telephone will take Cambodia, you know, a leapfrogging process. It will enable us to skip the learning curve.
Yes.
You know, like you mentioned, we forget about fixed line now. You know, and it's really the possibility to just, you know, reach out to place that we wouldn't be able to even consider 10 or 15 years ago, right?
Yes.
And I must say, I'm quite, looking back, I was quite proud, because I was the negotiator on Cambodia accession WTO, and one of the biggest dilemma in those days was that there are two telecom policy, fixed telephony and mobile telephony, in, you know, and in those days we were pushing to open the mobile telephony. Of course, there was some resistance in the fixed telephony for argument like security, national security reason, that sort of thing. So at the end, we managed to break the mobile telephony away from the fixed telephony, and that's why you have all this market liberalization in the telecom sector. You know, and you can see right after we enter the WTO, you see this booming effect, right? 10 years later, 12 years later, you know, what do we have? We have advanced, you know, sort of like utilization of this telephony infrastructure, which you said that, oh my God, I mean, your friend in Barclay was just pushing this services when Cambodia was already doing 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
You see, so to me, this is where I see the effect on this technological breakthrough to help a country like Cambodia to skip the learning curve.
Yes, no, I agree completely. It's I'm very proud that we managed to launch it in Cambodia. Very difficult market with the both currencies.
Is that
so
how difficult? Why the currency?
Well,
is the difficulty to play on the script or something? The Cambodian script is no easy.
So yes, that's one of the other challenges. The Cambodian script on the mobile phone was very difficult to do. And also the dual currency. So again, both of our customers can choose whether they want a US dollar account or a Khmer Real account. And again, we have to handle the conversion rates when a US dollar customer sends money to a Khmer Real customer. We have to do the conversion, etc.
But that's a Unicode now, you know. For but eventually, all this new phone application will be easy. You know,
exactly, that's the thing, and I think the reason that we've had issues there is because we've been aiming at the lowest model of mobile phone, and the channel that we use, which is called USSD, is very generic, and it doesn't support. It does support Khmer Unicode, But again, there are many pieces to that. Both our system needs to support that, the telco system needs to support it, and then the end user's phone needs to support it as well. So
but
between
eventually
those,
there have to be
eventually
some way of migration to
yes.
Better technology.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's going to happen over time. There's no question. But I think one of the key things for us to overcome that challenge in particular, and also a natural part of Wing, is our Wing Cash Express network. We have 850 Wing Cash Expresses nationwide. I must say, actually, we also have another 7,000 phone top-up dealers nationwide on top of that as well. So it's a huge retail channel that we have. I think actually the largest in the country. And those, it helps us overcome a couple of things, the language on the phone, but also the trust factor. I did find that Cambodians in general like to trust other Cambodians to do little things for them, whether it's paying the electricity bill, they give it to a motor doc to go and pay, and you get at the electric company and so on. So that's already there. Now, by us building this very large retail chain, actually we found that those customers know that they can go to their local Wing Cash Express. They build up that relationship, and they don't quite understand the technology, but they can still get their money from A to B immediately by using this individual. So
this is interesting. Interesting. Anthony, we're coming to the end of the show. What's your message to the audience for the Cambodian as a whole?
I think for Cambodia, I think firstly, I think they should be very proud of what Wing has done, and also the new entrants. You know, there are other people starting to do mobile money in Cambodia, which is a good thing. It drives financial education and literacy, which is a wonderful thing. For Wing particularly, we've got a very exciting year coming up. We have new products coming. We're still expanding our network as well. I think the key thing for us would be around the speed and the cost of moving money from one place to another. For us will remain a key focus. I think we're still the cheapest and the most secure method of moving money from one place to another, and it allows those people to use their time on better things. They've got better things to do than to get on a motor dock to go to town to send money. They can just do it from their mobile phone. They can then spend that time, I don't know, cooking dinner for their children or doing their other job. You know, it's a good time saver as well that has hidden benefits for the economy that don't get seen. So
good. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time to come and share with us this, you know, sort of like a new way of doing, you know, money transfer, which I would say to a lot of the top and the middle level of the pyramid, we sort of like neglect because we're so comfortable with the traditional banking. You know, we didn't realize that there are a cousin in the provincial side who would not have that chance, you know, to benefit from this financial transaction had it not been for this mobile banking facility. Right? So thank you very much, and I wish you good luck for the expansion from this year.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
How I got from this short 30-minute dialogue with Anthony is that innovation comes from many different forms. The effect, you know, on this, I like to call, you know, technological innovation in the form of financial banking using mobile telephone, it has more effect than just purely a transfer of money. Of course, you know, financial inclusion is important. Society need to have access to money, to finance, not just for the rich people, not just for those well-educated who can use the bank or the ATM in a big city, but those who are also on the bottom of the pyramid, who are farmer, who are, you know, chicken grower, whatever, they also have, you know, aspiration to enter into the market, to enter into society as an economic actor at some point. And to me, having a product like, you know, technologically advanced like mobile banking, give them a sense, number one, of being part of society, not being excluded. There's less, I would say, less complex that, oh my God, I'm so poor that I you know, I'm not even considered part. So, but that is a psychological side of it. But there's also the other dimension that because they have to use technology. You know, de facto they become aware of the gadget, of the technology, and by using this phone long enough, you know, they realize, you know, that they can do a lot more than just financial banking. You know, they could have application that they can teach their kid how to learn English. I don't know. I mean, when you start with a phone, you don't know where you're gonna be 5 years down the road. You'll be using different application. You'll be using iPad. You'll be using iPhone, iPod. I don't know. You know, but all I'm saying is that this technological advance can only but improve the life of the people, can only but enhance the ability to learn more from this technology and ultimately improve their life. So I think financial inclusion, for sure, this money banking, mobile banking serve its purpose, but it does serve more because it enables the Cambodian in remote province to see that, you know, the fruit of the economic growth of the country does filter through them, you know, to them, you know, through this technology. So I really encourage all of us who are in the province to start utilizing that, and not just as a way to spend money, to send the money, but as a way to get used into the technology. This year, a lot of my program will be focusing on science and technology, on innovation, and we have to get the young Cambodian to start liking technology, to like science, you know, innovation, engineering, technical stuff. You know, I have no problem about people who study, you know, a major in economics. Okay, I have no problem. But you will not get job when you graduate 5,000 people in 2-3 years and having an economist degree. You will not get any job. Your job will be in the science, in the technology, in the engineering, in the technical field. And this is where you have to start learning, you know, all this, you know, science at the early age. So, good night.